He's had too many meals that have been too underwhelming. We spoke of the avocado mousse, which had the texture of a broken Zabione. It was just none of it's been good. And also, don't try to pull off Paella Akimbo. He's got two of these little pans going at the same time. He's putting stock in like it's a risotto. He doesn't know how to cook the fucking dish. This guy's a bit of a fraud. He could be there for 6 months. He'd be making shit food. He needs to go back to the CIA.
Welcome aboard to the final recap of Below Deck Down Under.
Yeah.
I am not your host, Dylan Wren. I am, in fact, saddled up right next to him in 10 minutes. Your de facto partial host, Nick Davis, and sitting over behind some glass, depending on where you're sitting, is Pat the Irish Bug Hickey.
Permission to come aboard, Nikki.
Permission granted.
Dylan's on the phone with his wife right now. I think there's some car troubles or something. He's going to be in here in a minute, but it's going to be up to Nikki and I to hold it down until he gets in this room.
Yeah, from what I gathered right before we started, she ended up with a flat tire, and if she does not get help, has minutes to live stranded on the side of a freeway when zombies are run amok in this town. Yeah. Please do not leave the phone. Get off the phone with her until you know she is safe, Dylan, if you can hear me. We are here to talk today about the final episode of Below Deck Down Under, a spin-off on a spin-off network that I think delivered for the full season. But I think at the end, we may give our full season thoughts and knots. Do you have any PSAs for our Patreon subscribers, Pat?
Oh, well, I would just say this, because this is behind a paywall, right? Hang on. We got some good stuff coming down the pike. So I always keep notes on people that unsubscribe. And I've given Nikki the marching orders that they will not be allowed back in. If you unsubscribe, you don't get to come back when we start laying down some new content in like the month or so.
I have a problem with authority, so when I get those marching orders, instead what I do is I send a really nice personalized note to all the defectors. I thank them for the support they've given us up to this point, and let them know about all this coming up. If they respond back and say they're having financial hardships, I'll give them the link for free, because we're that nice. But don't lie to me and say you can't afford it, and you can afford it, because I'll find out, and I'll take it away.
Well, Nikki, there's also the other side of that coin, which is some people have said these tactics mimic those of a cult. Some defector actually compared us to Scientology.
I like it. I like it. How do we get tax exempt status? Anyways, we are here to talk about. Oh yeah, you're already listening to Beverly Hills recaps. In the fall, we'll probably do Below Deck Iceland Adventure, and Med starts.
Yeah, there you go. And APS and PMC, you're getting enough free shit. Oh, by the way, did we mention that we're going to be recap? I guess it's in the Chiron. It's or whatever the fuck. This is Below Deck Down Under. I don't know if we've said that.
I've said that a number of times. I said the final episode of Below Deck Down Under, the spin-off on Below Deck Down Under on the spin-off network Peacock.
I'm a little loopy. I apologize.
Definitely said it a number of times. But thoughts and knots on the finale. Dylan, why don't you let Pat go first?
Thank you, Dylan. Let me just say this. I did appreciate that the goodbyes were summed up in about 5 minutes at the tail end of the episode. But in so many incarnations of this franchise or this series or whatever, the last episode always seems like it has no reason to exist. They're going to do one last day of charter. That doesn't really matter. We'll have one last night out where I would assume that they think we're going to get in a big fight or something, which rarely comes to fruition. And then you'll party a little bit and everyone will go to bed, and then we'll wake up the next morning and say goodbye. And that's exactly what happened in this episode. I hate to sound like a very negative Nancy, but for my final knots, 0.
Tough but fair, Pat. I will just say you're quite the paradox, because I agree with you. Oftentimes, it seems like the final episode doesn't have to exist. But if we eliminated that episode, the episode that preceded it would then become the last episode, which then would also have no reason to exist.
Or perhaps leave some open-ended questions. Don't you like a movie that leaves you questioning? I wonder what happened to that character. Shawshank Redemption, that film ends. Morgan Freeman's character finds Andy Dufresne. And he greets him on the beach, and we'd think that possibly happy ending, but we don't know. That was the 50s, when, if you're doing the timeline correctly, perhaps the FBI chased them down to Mexico at that beach town, and they both ended up the rest of their lives in prison.
Oh, I always assumed they both found a safe place where they could come out of the closet, and they opened up a little resort and were a nice gay couple until the end of time.
Some homophobic overtones. Homophobic's the wrong word.
Hey Pat, if I suggest to you that we for the rest of our lives live out a beach town, just us two, what would you assume? I don't think that's out of the realm.
We're buddies.
Yeah, we're
gonna be podcasting.
We're buddies.
Each other. But anyway, yeah. Sometimes you leave. The less you know, it actually enhances the storylines.
Less history, more mystery.
Mystery, yeah. I use that also when I met my wife and she started telling me all the sexual stuff she did with some guys. I'm like, I don't want to know.
I'd be willing to listen. But this is my thoughts and not.
Sorry, forgive me.
So, because of that paradox, if you eliminated the finale, the preceding episode would become the finale. So, thus, a finale is a necessity. I think that this, in a vacuum of finales, did okay. We had a little bit of controversy. We got important deckhand getting too fucked up on a work night.
Oh yeah, Culver.
And that was about it. But I mean, it did have a little bit of like intrigue. 72 knots. I also have an Arizona Missions, which I'm gonna wait for Dylan to come in after he gives his thoughts and knots, and then I'm gonna give this Arizona Missions. And I just, it's a big mea culpa on me, something I've been wanting to get off my chest for weeks and continue to forget. But let's get into the episode. We return to the beach party. High tide coming in, and in an M. Night Shyamalan type cliffhanger, are we about to get stranded on this beach?
Well, apparently not, because we waste about 5 minutes of them pushing the boats and problem solving, which is what these sea rats are, I guess, paid to do. Even though they're not listening to Captain Hot Stuff over there, going, "Get off the fucking beach, mate. Pick up your fucking walkie-talkies. Get them off the beach." Well, alas, we finally do that.
Yes.
Hey, Nick, I didn't watch the last episode, and thank you and Dylan for doing the heavy lifting, and it was a dereliction of duty.
You watched the last episode. You didn't watch the penultimate episode. And I know when you said last, you meant the preceding episode, this is the last episode.
That's what I meant. And so I didn't know what the whole hula was about this beach party. Why were they so delayed getting off the beach and getting on those boats back? Because we got some vow renewals,
There was really no reason. It just high tide comes quick.
Incompetency.
Yeah. I guess Culver, they tried to frame it a little bit like he was already having too much fun and he wouldn't come back on the jet ski with one of those. I almost said a word we'd have to bleep, but I'm growing. Yeah, but in fact, Orphan Esther actually did turn out to be a former prostitute who was 33 years old, and not an orphan at all. Type twist. They get off the beach and return to Thalassa in time. Impressive, harrowing action by all the crew. And now, despite after already being on the beach and being hungover and not wanting to do any activities, the guests
fucking scuba diving.
The guests are forced to go scuba diving.
Now, Nick, this perked my eyebrows out. I'm not a judgy person.
It perked your eyebrows out. Gotcha.
That perked my eyebrows up.
Gotcha.
Like a little judgy, I'm not a nun. But do you go to get certified and go scuba diving after you've been pounding a bunch of booze all day long? It seems like it's a little dangerous. But I guess maybe not in Australia.
It definitely seemed a little, at least rife with liability to have on 100%. Camera all of the guests who are about to partake in this very dangerous activity. I mean, we would do it. I mean, it's the fucking ocean.
No way.
They were saying, I think I'm still drunk. But the instructors were fine with it. And witness all the wonders that are underneath the ocean. They did, including chunks of throw up from their compadres. One of the funniest lines of Benny all season, he appreciated the synchronicity. Shout out the Police, the band.
They have a record, Synchronicity.
Yeah.
And he said tandem vomit sessions.
Yeah, it was quite beautiful if you're willing to open up your eyes. Yeah, that concludes the scuba diving portion.
Really quick, almost as though it didn't need to be shown.
But it did need to be shown because we need as much filler as possible.
Right.
And I have noticed that the scuba diving, the underwater shots, are Down Under's version of sailing and glasses crashing off. That's how you'll kill 3 to 4 minutes in a 43-minute episode.
Yeah, so we got 4 of these shows. We got Captain Lee. What's his thing?
Kind of Captain Lee and Sandy are both docking.
Oh, right.
It's always docking.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, Captain Lee's thing is definitely docking.
That's
Sandy's,
right.
I guess, in the galley.
Yeah. I forgot about that. She cares about the food. Yeah. All right, I forgot about that. Now, if you don't mind, Nick, I don't want to interrupt you, but Captain Jason, he's very concerned. He's a little stressed out. He's got a wedding vow speech for people that he barely knows. And he's all stressed the fuck out. And I was thinking, I'm an old guy. I don't know technology or anything like that. I'm the one you guys always make great fodder out of me not knowing how to do anything. But what I do know that I would have done I had to write a speech impromptu with people I don't know, I would have just tapped away at that Google and just typed in
wedding vows for...
Yeah. And here's what came up.
I'll believe
it. Gave a little help there. It said, if you're writing a speech for some ladies, open with a joke. Here's Captain Jason. Hey, everybody. I'd say some meaningful things here, but I'm just getting to know you. All right, that's not that great, but at least it's a little opening there.
Okay. You look like Captain Jason.
Maybe I'm hitting the second piece of advice here. It says, in a speech or one of those wedding things where you don't know anybody, give some honest advice. I'd like to tell you guys how to keep this all together, but I don't know who you guys are. Oh, God, I called you guys. Anyway, that'd be a little funny. And then the next thing it says, take a humble approach. And I think I'm in the same wheelhouse. I just keep coming back to it. I'd say something about the two of you, but I have no idea who you are, And
oh, Dylan, I'm so upset that you just missed what happened.
Well, the fourth one is plan a surprise flash mob. I wouldn't know how to pull that off. But anyway, that was just from a Google search. So that's all Hot Captain Jason needed to do there,
This episode is sponsored by Betterhelp. Hey, I'm sure that we've all wished at different times, this kooky thing called life, I wish there was a user manual for it. Nothing too complex, just something simple to help you break it down. But unfortunately, life doesn't come with one of those. So when it's not working for you, it's normal to feel a little stuck. You know what I mean? Therapists are trained to help you unstick yourself, okay? BetterHelp has, it's just, I haven't done it, but Pat has done it. Pat has the kindest things in the world to say about it, right? Because I know what it's like to try to find an in-person therapist. So does Pat. He says BetterHelp is infinitely easier. Everyone deserves to feel their best. BetterHelp makes it easier to get started on that, okay? All the benefits of in-person therapy, plus it's more convenient, more accessible, and more affordable, okay? Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/belowdeck. Again, that is BetterHelp, HELP.com/belowdeck to get 10% off your first month. Don't worry about life. You'll handle it with BetterHelp. You want to hear a not so dirty little secret about the betting aisle? While cotton might be the most popular fabric for sheets, duvets, pillowcases, it's also the most damaging for our planet. Even organic cotton takes its toll. That's why I'm so thrilled to introduce to you Attitude, made from naturally organic bamboo. Attitude sheets are made without toxic chemicals and use 99% less water than cotton. Plus, they're silky soft, so they're comfortable for you and for the environment. You may be thinking, bamboo sheets? What about velvet? What about silk. What about wool? You know, all these things are really comfortable to sleep in. No, listen to me. I didn't know this, but bamboo's the way to go. We got some of these sheets. Attitude sent us a couple. I've been sleeping like I'm some type of cherub in the clouds. That's what it feels like right now. You can get 20% off your order plus free shipping when you visit ettitude.com/belowdeck and enter in promo code belowdeck. Remember, that's Ettitude, ETTITUDE, as in eco attitude. Order today for free shipping and 20% off your order at ettitude.com/belowdeck and use promo code belowdeck. Sleep well, sleep good for the environment.
You would have been like, what? Because he if he was Captain Jason, he take it from the top.
Oh no, well, people already listened to it, Nick. They don't need to hear it again.
No, it was actually fine, but I think he would have been really mean if he heard. That's how you would have ran the
It
wedding.
hurt my feelings with that.
You should have heard his at least tell him your opening joke.
Oh no, well, he'll listen back. Hey, Dill, how's CC? She okay?
Flat tire. My brand new car has a fucking flat tire. Now, I don't know.
Probably drove through a construction site.
I don't know if it's dicey dealings with the dealership or if it's just a bad stroke of luck, but I am now trying to get a hold of someone who will come out at 10 o'clock at night to service this brand new fucking
Hey,
vehicle.
Dill, I want to give you a piece of advice.
He just raised his hand like
sorry,
three
go
times.
ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
But only because you were like looking for your notes so you could take the mantle of the hosting duties. I just have something I wanted to say before you
Oh,
pass.
no, I'm looking at this.
Oh.
Match me with a provider so that we can get this taken care of. I have to drive to Culver City at 8:30 in the morning. I'm just so angry.
All right, Dylan, do you want to stay here? You can go if you want to go.
I'll be here for a little bit. Once this gets matched, I gotta go pick her up.
Okay.
Fucking
Question:
little inconveniences of life.
Do you have a spare?
2021 Toyota Priuses do not come with a spare.
You think they'd have technology where you just like press a button in a tire? Just
Speed Racer came up with it in the 50s.
Is that right? Same
Yeah.
thing I'm talking about?
Pretty much.
I love that cartoon. When I would be up at 3 a.m, waiting for Weekend All Night with John Chalesnik.
My God.
And just watch some Speed Racer because I was Hall of Famer Nick from Wisconsin. I was 12, and I would call him the ESPN radio at 4 a.m. But Dylan, before I hand off the baton, and you can hand it back whenever you need if you got to leave.
Right.
Two things. We just wrapped up the
Wedding?
We're at the wedding vows.
Prepping. Yeah,
We're at the wedding vows. We need your thoughts and knots, but before we do, I have an errors and omissions, and I really wanted you to be here.
Yeah, okay.
So, on the episode that Pat wasn't here, I made an egregious error. I said in the Milwaukee Brewers 7th inning stretch entertainment, the sausage races, that the chorizo debuted in 2005. It actually didn't debut until 2006, where it only made one appearance on Cinco de Mayo. Or no, that wasn't true.
I've heard enough. You pig, get out.
And no, let me have my mea culpa. I understand my transgressions. And it wasn't permanently added to the sausage roster races until 2007. Nick regrets the error.
Nick regrets the error, and it was insane for you to think that, what was the franchise?
Milwaukee Brewers.
Milwaukee Brewers would have, well, I don't know, Milwaukee's a pretty... Anyways, that they would have welcomed in that kind of Latin flair in 2005. I mean, people just weren't ready for it yet.
I don't know about you,
Obama
Dylan.
wasn't even president.
I don't think he deserves to be here anymore. And if you leave, it will just be me.
Milwaukee's gross. I don't know if you're going to say nice things about it, but it's gray and it's Chicago light. It just doesn't get talked about because Chicago is so close.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, I got Romy on chat. I mean, this is just such a nightmare. But it pains me because I thought this was such a lovely end to the season.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, I really, really liked this episode. We get just an all-time Jamie episode. Like,
oh, he was a jerk.
I forgot about that point.
All-time Jamie episode from...
This is why we need you here.
From the gayest moment of the entire season, a girl tries to hook up with him, and he's like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? You spilled my vodka soda all over me. It stained me. It's soda. It's clear.
Then
what
he tells
one
of the camera people to get away from him, you know?
I hope that it is closeted homosexuality, because if it is not, something is very, very wrong.
Well, I brought it up for Rothy with that interview. I believe he hates women.
Sure, well, there's that, but I think there's something else. It's really, really weird. It's like when I was a young boy, I was 13, I was going to go make out for my first time with a young lady named Hannah B., and I was so scared of doing it that I pretended that I burned my hand on the air conditioner, which was a little warm, but not really hot at all. And I said, I can't go down there. I hurt my hand. And she was like, what's wrong? And then she came up and she touched it and she was like, it's not hot. And I was like, no, it is. That's kind of what he was doing with Sweet Sweet Taylor. Is that her name?
Yeah, it was Taylor, but it wasn't so subtle and it was completely different
towards women.
Yeah.
But also the thing with Jamie this episode was hating Daddy and then getting praise from Daddy in the end was oh my God, it was so amazing. He was like, he really likes me. That's really amazing. He's crying.
You were getting ahead of yourself, sir. But all right, now you're triggering some memories.
I
mean, I watched this episode a week ago.
I'm trying to lay it
out.
all
Sorry.
there, so yeah, but no, I'm done.
Well, how many are not?
5.
There you go.
Yeah. And speaking of closeted homosexuality, do you think Andy Dufresne was fucking Morgan Freeman when they ended up in Mexico? Because that's I think that's what they were telling us.
Probably. Yeah. I do think that.
It came up earlier.
Oh, did it?
It really did in our thoughts and knots.
Hey,
he wants no finale, and I was like, if we take away the finale, then the episode before it becomes the finale. And it's a paradox, but he was like, no, just end on a cliffhanger, like what happens in Shawshank. And I was like, that's not a cliffhanger. Right. They're gay.
Right. All right. So I am so sorry that this happened to me. The person has been dispatched to go service the vehicle. I have to go and pick my wife up.
Get out of here then.
And then take a $70 Uber to Culver City in the morning, sitting in the back seat of a person who I don't really want to have a conversation with.
Well, put your headphones on and pretend that you don't speak English.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
What if she Ubers home?
Hey, it's his wife. Let him do what he wants
to
do.
I'm just positing solutions.
Yeah.
We can do this.
You guys got this. Listen, I just want to say to all the fans, I thank you so much for listening and supporting us on Patreon for this show. And also thank you so much for all of the kind words at the bottom of that poll. I mean, sure, we get into little bouts with our fans, and sure, there are critiques and criticisms, and sure, that stuff's a little bit annoying, but guys, the overwhelming love and support when we see something like, almost 100% of you are like, go make that money, boo-boo, and then all these really nice things below it, it's so heartwarming. You guys are why we do it, and I can't thank you enough for listening to us the entire season.
That was very sweet. I echo your sentiments. We'll give some more at the end, but can I just ask if you have any fire jokes that you would like to get out, regardless if they're out of order? We know what we're talking about. We all watched the episode. I'm sure you got some stuff.
We begin the final day of charter. They've got a big to-do list. God, it's a shame because I really did feel like I had some pretty good notes.
Why don't you call us from the car?
Okay. Do you guys want me to give you a ring?
Yeah. Give me a call.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll call you guys.
Were you going to leave now? Is the Uber out there?
Talk soon.
All right. You don't need to call down.
I think. I mean, we aren't morning radio.
Well, I almost stopped the recording. What the fuck is going on?
I get that. That's a reflex. We aren't morning radio, but I think what does make good morning radio, because of how often they do it, is spontaneity.
Is that what this is?
I fucking love a call-in.
Oh, okay.
And you have to host the show. I'll if you need help.
Nick, we'll make it work.
I know, but
Jesus
he's calling in.
fucking Christ. All right, look, can we get to the fucking sunset and the vow renewal?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
you're going to go get a claw, so I got to talk now? Oh, okay.
For like 2 seconds.
I can handle it.
Do you need one?
Yeah. All right, so anyway, we got this fucking vow renewal. My wife, by the way, I always joke about it, like, hey, honey, come on, our 10 years coming up. Why don't we, I'm sorry, our 5-year, but we've been together for 10, but I was like, why don't we do a vow renewal? She's like, absolutely not. She says it's actually the death of a relationship when you have to remind all your friends and family that you're still married. And if you watch reality TV shows, Nick, I know you're a little late to this, although you've been doing reality TV recaps with me for 5 years, but famously, the Housewives, a trope that they've done many times is the vow renewal. and the next thing that happens, the next fucking foot to drop or whatever the fuck to drop,
Shoe.
a shoe to drop is a divorce the next year. They're always trying to the vow renewal is trying to overcompensate for a horrible marriage and the husband cheating or whatever. Anyway, I don't know these two people. I barely, I didn't watch the episode prior to this one, so I really don't know who these two ladies are. But I hope they aren't victim to the same thing I've seen on reality TV over and over again, which is a divorce following a renewal vow.
I agree with everything you said. Vow renewals they doth protest too much. Who are you trying to convince if you're in a happy marriage? You don't need this. I will say these two sweet ladies.
They do seem in love.
They seem in love, and I think this is coming off the heels of a wedding they just had. I don't think this is like.
Oh.
I don't think it was like old. I think they wanted to do it on TV.
What is this, like fucking one of those Jonas Brothers with that Indian broad? You got to do 4 ceremonies for people? How annoying is that?
Is that what happened?
What is her name? She's really hot. Deepak Pro. I don't know. She
Priyanka Chopra.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is the worst.
Is that right, Nick?
Oh, if you follow. Oh, yeah, I cannot stand her. She's married to a Jonas brother.
That's right.
Damn it. Why do all the good artists get co-opted by the government to be psyops for the leftist agenda?
Hey, can I do a meanwhile?
Yeah, please.
Meanwhile, hot captain Jason, he sees his daughter over Skype. I guess in the Philippines there, he hasn't seen her in like 2 years, although I did have a little moment at the tail end of this episode, not to get ahead of myself, where they ran the credits and he finally gets to see his daughter after 2 years because the Philippines apparently were still freaked out by that whole thing that you've...
Since debunked.
Well, yeah, you said was the flu.
Our buddy he fucking got it and didn't die. He's 400 pounds. The thing's not real.
He got it?
Yeah.
I should have killed him.
That's how you know. And I didn't make up that nickname. My girlfriend did before I even told her about our fight.
Is that right?
She said he looks like
I hope
he
he
stinks.
doesn't listen to this podcast.
I'm going to bleep it.
Okay.
It's so sad, and I need to get some of this maintenance from a therapist because all I want is his feelings to be hurt.
Is that right? A coworker, you want to hurt his feelings?
He took money out of my pocket and then was defiant about it. That's the worst.
Well, you'll find a way to exact your revenge, won't you?
I'm not. A life well lived is the best revenge. God, I'm trying to get better, but man, yeah, these things stick in your craw, you know.
Understood, brother.
So, vow renewals.
Keith Stone, he's getting ready for a comeback. Culver, I'm kind of over you. I was sold on a bill of goods that this guy was the most nice, positive, fun, honest, hardworking guy. And then I've watched the last 3 episodes of this fucking show, and he's not working. He's drinking on the job. He's still kind of nice, but that shtick kind of runs out. And I think Culver might be a different guy. We might want to talk to some other people that we know. He knows. I'm sorry. I'd
love to talk to Culver as well, but I actually think he is what we were initially sold. I think some of the drama with him towards the end was either editing down in TFC and then taking it off.
Drinking when the captain told him you can only have one drink, Nick.
Or I was getting to that one. That's definitely a transgression, but the initial of him being like sullen or whatever, I think a lot has to do with Jamie and the information he was being fed from what he thought the higher up was when he thought he was doing everything right. What could be more demoralizing than being told you're on someone's watch list when you think
you have a target on your back? But Nick, what kind of person of great character or moral character, once you're told a piece of bad information that you have a target on your back, says, fuck it?
A real human being who was disheartened, and I think he tried to pick it up, and then he tried to be good party time Culver. Then, and this is the part I empathize with most, your boss tells you can have one and loosen up.
He said you have one.
Yeah, I know, but you know.
He didn't say tie one on. That's a different thing, dude. You got to still protect people on the boat. The boat starts sinking. You got to be the person there directing people on what to do.
I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm saying how I could see myself ending up in that same
situation.
situation.
I think you see a little bit of yourself in Culver, and I think that's the problem here.
Except his perfect family.
Well, there's a lot to be. A lot of people. Hey, do you mind calling Dylan to ask him about this dinner? See if he picks up. He might have a lot to say about that. Okay, so because we're going to go to the...
I actually missed this FaceTime audio call. I do want to say about Culver. So I watched the mini reunion between...
Oh, they did like an impromptu Zoom call or some shit. All right, so just ask him about the fucking food.
If I were to ask you to name a movie by John Travolta or Tom Hanks, could you answer in under 15 seconds? Could you? Could you say Grease? Could you say Castaway? Could you say Grease 2? You could, but that would be wrong. You wouldn't get any points. And that's why trivia is so much fun. Trivia Star is what we're talking about today. It's a free mobile trivia game with over 60 different categories that you get to choose from, including music, TV, animals, celebrities. If you choose the correct answer for multiple choices that beat the clock, you move on to the next level. Dudes, I love dudes and gals, everybody listening, theys, thems, pets. Everybody, I love this game so much. If you love trivia like I do, you'll love it too. Okay, Trivia Star has thousands of 5-star reviews in the Apple Store. It's the #1 trivia game in the App Store. Download it today to challenge yourself. Just go to Apple or Google Store and search for Trivia Star. Download Trivia Star for free today and get ready. Flex those brain muscles. Trivia Star.
Dylan.
Is Pat going to get really angry that we now had to do this technological component because it's getting late for Grumpy Pants?
No, we're rolling.
I'm okay. We wanted to hear what you had to say about that dinner. It seemed it just passed like ships passing through the night. It was so fast. I didn't really catch it, but I know that you are like a microscope on the food. So, Dylan, could you tell us what your thoughts were on this final meal of the wedding dinner?
It's really tough because I didn't hear a fucking word of that.
Dinner! Dylan, what are your thoughts on dinner?
Oh, dinner. My God. Okay. You guys know that I've spoken of the Sokarat, I mean, I don't know, half a dozen times at this point. I think that anybody with working eyes could see that the Sokarat was nowhere near achieved, that Paella did not have the hue of a saffron.
That's what I was telling Pat before he got on. I hated the hue.
Yeah, it had the hue of chicken broth. It was a pale yellow, a jaundiced, flimsy yellow. And the rice had the texture of cream of wheat. It was overcooked and gummy. It looked like fucking disgusting paella. I just, not even a whimper to end the season with this guy. This guy is a bad chef. Seems like a lovely guy, but cannot cook. That octopus was, it looked like it got out of a fucking crematorium or whatever you call him. Just charred to a crisp.
4 pots for Nate. Now,
Dylan, I'm calling you back. Ask him. This will be way better.
We're gonna have him do it over again?
No.
Oh.
Yep.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, this is way better.
All right, we're bringing Dylan in the show. What if he has to be talking with his wife?
Then I'll mute it. You only wanted to talk to him about the food.
I just wanted to talk to him about the food.
Oh. Well, now
okay.
Now I see why you were so confused when I switched our mode of calling. You did have a question for him, though.
Dylan, what do you think about Nate? And it's just because he's so new to the boat. Don't chefs get a little bit of a little wiggle room to accommodate? What's the word? Like you get used
acclimate
to a situation. We saw Marcos, I guess, that first day. Well, I guess it was Simple Chuck and Erica Rose, but he was, on shaky footing at least initially. Does Nate have room to grow from this if had the season been longer?
Look at this. I got a fucking drifter. I hate fucking drifters. These people that just slide into your lane. It's one of the most disconcerting feelings. You're just sitting there in your lane. You're like, oh, here he comes. Yep, and the horn. No, he does not. He is not allotted any fucking time. He's had too many meals that have been too underwhelming. We spoke of the avocado mousse, which had the texture of a broken Zabione. It was just none of it's been good. And also, don't try to pull off Paella Akimbo. He's got two of these little pans going at the same time. He's putting stock in like it's a risotto. He doesn't know how to cook the fucking dish. This guy's a bit of a fraud. He could be there for 6 months. He'd be making shit food. He needs to go back to the CIA.
Well, that's
All right, so is that it for me, boys?
yeah. Get out of here. You've done
All
enough.
right, guys. I'm really sorry. I love the fans. It breaks my heart. This is the last episode, but here I am being a hero. Gotta go. Talk to you guys later.
Bye, Dylan.
Bye. Well, thank you for your input, Dylan.
All right, so let's get the dinner happens, and then we go to DJ Lazy Susan shows up. By the way, I like these people when we talk. A lot of people, Dylan breaks my balls when we finally meet these people and we talk to them on Zoom. I'm like, they're real people in front of me. I love Brittini, Benny, a sight to see when you're looking at him. I guess not in person, but not on the show anymore. What a nice guy. Anyway, they throw down that night, and that's when Hot Captain Jason says, everybody can have one drink, which I've heard that you're not supposed to be drinking any alcohol on these boats whatsoever. But I guess that was... Do you remember when that whole Hannah Ferrara thing came up where she was like smoking a little weed or maybe whatever, and Captain Sandy came out and was like how dangerous that was and how you have to put it in a locker, you're not allowed to drink. And I used to ask Kate Chastain, because I assumed she was a wine drinker, like, are you allowed to drink on the boat? And she'd say, not when guests are on the boat. So this is a big no-no.
It definitely seemed like a big no-no. Everything we've ever been told, you can't drink, you can't operate this giant vessel, insurance, blah, 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 blah. But despite that, he said one sangria apiece.
One sangria.
And Culver, much like I would, goes way, way, way overboard.
Yeah.
To the point where the guests are calling him thirsty. He's even pawing at them. Maybe give credence to your theory that he's not what we thought Culver might be. Oh, this is what I was going to say right before we got Dylan on the blower. So I watched the impromptu reunion with Toomey, Brittini, and Aisha all hour and a half.
An hour and a half.
Yeah, I was in the shower. I was cooking. I screen recorded it, cutting some good clips.
Was that a little shade there? Did they do that tonight?
No, they did it at 10:30 this morning.
Was still the same day that they're doing the reunion for yachting?
I mean, I don't think it's shade. I think it's latching on to the momentum.
Okay.
Below Deck Down Under has a ton of momentum, and the momentum is only
Well, they'll have their time now.
Pick up. They're going to be on Bravo. They're going to outshine. Imagine you got Monday night, gross, sober Captain Sandy. On Tuesday night, you have hot Captain Jason.
And by the way, can you imagine this? You first get the news, hey, you're a C-Rat, by the way. And you're like, hey, Pat, hey, C-Rat, you're going to be on Below Deck. I'm like, great. I get to be on TV. I'm going to be able to watch what happens live. I'm going to have a bunch of girls in my DMs. They're going to try and fuck me. And then I find out the news, oh, you're going to be behind a paywall at Peacock. I'm like, well, how many people subscribe to that? They're like, I don't know yet. We're still a growing platform. I'm like, well, that fucking sucks. And then you get the news like 3 weeks ago that says, hey, Pat, you know how you had a run of a year, like 3 months, us running you on these episodes, and you get all these girls in the DMs, and you got a paycheck and all that? Well, guess what? Now we're going to run you for the next 3 months on the big ship.
That's about to increase tenfold your DMs.
You thought it was fun the last 3 months. Get ready for this. What a fucking windfall for Benny and not Jamie. For Ryan. Well, not Ryan. For Nate. No, not Nate. Well, for Toomey.
Toomey, for sure.
Well, Magna.
Magna.
Yeah.
What a great bit. Did you have that planned? Because, it is not a windfall for any of those four. It's actually going to be quite... Another bashing in the head. Yeah. You thought it was bad, Pizza Rat, you piece of shit. You thought it was bad when you were behind a paywall. Oh, no. Just get ready. You're on Bravo. They're going to have real fun. And then they'll probably pull together a reunion, which you won't show up at. All right. What are you looking at, Nick? You want to know where the fuck we're at? I'm a little trying to figure out where the fuck we're at.
We're at the party.
Yeah. Culver, drinking too much, getting thirsty, pawing on the guests. He finally gets that that sobering finger call
hot
over
captain.
by hot captain, which if you're a woman, you're like, wait, me? But if you're one of his male deckhands, you're like, fuck me.
Now, Captain Hot Jason tell him during the nighttime or in the morning? He said, if this wasn't your last night, you'd be shit canned.
That was the next morning. This was a really good test case of Captain Jason being a competent, good leader.
He said, go to bed, right?
Just go to bed. It's time for you to tap out. Culver, that's how you can tell there's respect with Captain Jason. He's just like, okay, yeah, I probably should go to bed. And the next morning is when he gets his lecture on how unacceptable that is. And how if this were any other day, then besides the last day, I would have to fire you.
I would argue, unless you can simply, your next charter, next season, when Culver applies to be on your boat, you can just say, need not apply. It's a little late for the impromptu employee review of I could have fired. It's like, save it. Wasted breath, I argue. But I get what you're saying.
I keep trying to mention this, but I watched the hour-and-a-half impromptu Below Deck Down Under reunion with Bertini, Toomey, and Aisha. They talked on Instagram Live. They had a great time. They talked about how much the girls' banter wasn't shown. But a couple things they did talk about. What was my point?
Our next partner has a product that I use literally every day. I started taking AG1 to get my goose going in the morning, get myself rocking and up throughout the day. That's how you want to do it. What is the stuff? It's 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced ingredients, probiotics, and adaptogens. Do you even know what those are? Well, look into it and look into getting Athletic Greens. You know why? Because it's lifestyle friendly. Whether you eat keto. I always say that keto because it's right next to paleo, but no, keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, all of it is working with you, and it's working with Athletic Greens. Your subscription comes with a year's supply of vitamin D also, which is so important to add in these winter months when we don't get as much sunlight. Also, listen, Athletic Greens has over 7,000 five-star reviews. You don't need to listen to us, okay? Just listen to those people, all right? 7,000 of them. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/below-deck. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/below-deck to take ownership over your health. Pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Guess what time it is? You guessed right, it's time to get sexy, okay? I want you to meet Dip, all right? Dame's intuitive, introductory vibrator, okay? Whether Dip is your first vibrator or the toy that helps you rediscover what feels good for you, it's designed to be unintimidating and to encourage pleasure exploration without shame, okay? Listen, this is price accessible, okay? It's only $49. Dip is a widely accessible vibrator with exceptional performance. I mean, you gotta listen, man. I mean, and woman, it's perfect for play, okay? Dip can be used both internally and externally, allowing you to explore what feels good for you. You want to shove it up, you want to buzz it around, do whatever you want, okay? You can purchase it at dameproducts.com, okay? And what we want you to do is go to that website, right? And then use promo code BELOWDECK for 15% off your first order, okay? Go to dameproducts.com, use promo code BELOWDECK to get 15% off your first order. Get sexy with Dame and dip into it.
Would it have been about Culver?
Culver and Bertini and their van ride.
Now, she wouldn't say... Now, Bertini was on here last week, and she would not talk about her and Culver's relationship. She shine some light on what's transpired since?
She wouldn't talk about it because she thought possibly there would be a reunion. We have since learned there won't be a reunion, but I think there will be a reunion.
And it's only 4 months away, dude.
Yeah, and they kept talking about on their impromptu reunion how the whole season was like a year ago, and it's pathetic that Jamie's still like talking about. And
well, he was nice to all of them, at least from we've talked to at least 2 people from the show. He was very nice and complimentary to his coworkers. And now he's since started some horrible podcast. I don't want to give him any promotion.
I will wake up with Jamie.
A bunch of shit about
You know
them.
what to do. But yes, he does talk shit about them. But that's not what the important part they talked about in the reunion. Actually, none of it was the important part on their impromptu reunion. But there were many questions about, and it was really funny because Aisha kept talking about like how you getting into yachting, and like Brittini interrupted. She's like, maybe we should talk about stuff from the season. And then Aisha,
fun.
It almost seemed like
they need a host.
It almost seemed like they were like kind of like, I don't know, they were like. Aisha was like, fine, what would you like to talk about? And then Brittany was like, let's talk about the van ride. And everybody's like, okay, fine, the van ride. But everybody wanted to talk about the van ride. That was the only question.
We want to hear about the van. We watched the show. We want to know if you fucked Culver.
The van ride did, in fact, happen. Even went to Culver's compound, met the entire family in Maryland.
Oh.
But she lamented and she was pissed. Not even a kiss on the lips happened. And she said, she, like, you know how like you would assume these sea rats are like lying. It almost felt like she said that nothing happened so Culver wouldn't think she said something happened when things didn't happen. I believe her that nothing happened. I don't think Culver wanted to touch that with a 10-foot pole. I think they had a good time out on their van ride, and Brittini's getting laid plenty. She's a she's a sex expert and stuff, and women's empowerment, and show your sexuality, because you just can't do that nowadays in today's society.
Well, you absolutely can.
If you listen to Brittini and you're empowered. So that was the one thing that I gleaned. And also like they gave the helmet for the worst person on the charter. They also gave the golden chamois, which they never showed, for the best person on the charter. And they made it such a big deal that there was always a ceremony where you would hand off the golden chamois.
Captain Jason oversaw this ceremony.
Yeah. Well,
the golden chamois.
Yeah. It actually sounded really fun. They had such a good time. I never hated this cast as much as Dylan did. Jamie sucks, obviously, but the rest of them are okay.
Yeah, they're all fine. I mean, except for Pizza Rat.
He's the absolute worst.
Magna's annoying, too. She used up all the gigabytes, you know? People trying to call home. She sucked all the gigabytes out of that internet world there, you know?
So only 3 out of the 8 people I don't
Other
like.
than that.
Other than that.
All right, so we're there at the next fucking day. Nick, we've been going long. Maybe we wrap this shit up, right?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah, go as fast as you want.
Hot Captain lets Britt drive the boat. She said she was kind of shocked by this newfound respect that Hot Captain said when we talked to her last week. The guests embrace the crew, and I guess they depart. And Captain takes this time now. He's going to chat with Culver, and dare I say, a pointless employee review. Just never hire him again. I mean, you know.
I actually thought this.
Hug it out.
I actually thought this had a ton of impact. This employee review. He basically he told Culver his transgressions, and he let him know how disappointed he was. But he also let him know that didn't affect their relationship.
They still be buddies.
Culver said, "Oh, we're good," and Captain Jason said, "We're more than good." And it almost brought a tear to my eye. And I want to say this shouldn't go as evidence as we need our lead singer, because I didn't know I was going to have to host today.
No, neither of us did. You know,
Yeah,
things pop up. You know, so there's a tip meeting, $21K. I think that's pretty much the average tip. Weird number here, $1,359 American.
Sounds like there are 11 people. No, I was just trying to do the math. 1,359.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Benny gets the helmet, but I think he's kind of over his ego at this point, kind of enjoys it.
That was a huge moment, him being so accepting of that shiny helmet.
He's grown as a person. He's done the work.
And he trusts these people that he's not being poked fun at. He's part of the group, and we're all having a good time.
And then I have a note here. Everyone grabs dinner, and then Hot Captain Jason says Culver and Jamie are losers and won't be captains, but Britt might be someday. Shade throat.
What a fire line. What a quick way to make an impact on 5 minutes. You're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. Bertina, you're cool. And I would obviously fuck all of the stews if provided the opportunity.
Yeah, but we got to have a little spacer before that, because that's,
Yeah,
we know what he's doing there.
But in veteran fashion, an early exit leave the people wanting more and lusting after him.
But Captain Jason doesn't need to waste his time trying to have sex with people that work for him because he's got a thing called an iPhone and it has a thing called Instagram, and I'm sure he's doing fine.
And he's in a place called the Philippines.
Well, now he is. Be a little weird with his daughter, though. I know I haven't seen you in 3 years, but, Daddy's got to do what Daddy's got to do. Anyway, so I think that's pretty much it, right? Jamie drinks his face off, and that's when they went to the nightclub. And Taylor, oh my God,
this was we can't gloss over this. We've posited all season that Jamie hates women, and what better way to prove that than an attractive one trying to embrace you and you yelling at her to get away from you.
I've seen this in my travels living in Los Angeles for the last 20 years, and you'd be out at a bar, club, or something, and like some guy gets really
aggro
over a woman. Like I remember one time I went with a girl I was dating, Lorena, and her sister was with us, and I said, oh, I know this bartender, Martin, and the girl, her sister said, because I told her the name of the bartender who I thought I was friends with. She kept going, Martin, and he goes, stop saying my fucking name. And I was like, that's an angry dick right there. I thought I knew this gentleman. And then we never went back there.
Like, Martin, aren't you horny?
Why are you so angry? He's dead now. He died of a drug overdose in 2021. He succumbed to, But he owned a bar. I wonder who that went to. Anyway.
Well, Jamie, just look out. Cautionary tale.
Yeah. Triggered that memory. Where are we, Nick?
Everybody's leaving.
Yes.
Benny has grown. Oh, wait, no. Everybody's leaving. Nate leaves. No one cares. Benny has grown. Toomey was finally able to be herself. She hugged Captain Jason. Aisha said kiss him. Brittini finally was able to show herself to the world and has never felt more empowered. She embarrassed a bunch of the fellas. Jamie leaves. And Captain Jason lies to him and says that I loved working with you. No one loved working with Jamie.
Lied to him.
Hates women. Aisha leaves and said that it was all because of Captain Jason that she was able to be the star of the show and now is set up for life. Yeah. And Captain Jason is just stoked that everybody's friends, and what a great season.
Cut to credits, black, and then it shows up 3 months later. You didn't watch this, right?
I did. I saw
you
it.
did? Okay. That made me cry. That was nice. See, I can't imagine a father being separated from his daughter for 2 years. Dare I say I would have found a way to get there, but I don't want to judge the man. But no one's keeping me away from Elliot. I think that's it, Nick.
I think the Australian government could keep you away from Elliot if they so chose.
Oh, I've seen how crazy they got. We have a lot of Australian listeners.
Our government won't be able to do that because we still have our guns. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this final episode of Below Deck Down Under, the flagship, the inaugural season of the first spinoff that's ever aired on Peacock. And let's relive it all again and listen to our free versions of this show so we have better numbers, which we can then parlay into higher amounts for our ads in future seasons. Thank you. For our captain, Dylan Wren.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Dylan.
I'm saying bon voyage. I'm Nick. Pat.
Permission to leave the boat, Nick.
Permission granted.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening.